So I'm here with Tony Ward. Tony, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, Morris. How you doing, brother?
True that.
Well, for anybody that doesn't know me, I'm Tony. I'm the singer and co-owner of cover band Bluemoose. You might have known us or spotted us playing at your graduations or debs years ago, and we've kind of evolved. We're doing corporates and weddings. Well, we were doing corporates and weddings more recently. So that's who I am, and that's what I do.
What have you been up to lately, anyway, since March and everything?
Well, not much. We haven't been up to anything. This whole COVID thing kind of played an awful lot of havoc with us. We had a very full diary. 2020 was going to be one of our busiest years. Mainly weddings. We still tip in and out of venues and festivals. And since March 13th was our last gig, we haven't done anything. I've been busy. It's gas, I've been busy at home, but also with the business side of things. Myself and Bobby run the emails and the inquiries. And the first couple of weeks and months was crazy with reschedules and couples panicking, I didn't have the answers, but all we tried to do was reschedule them. And fingers crossed, we thought we'd be back by the summer. But then there was another wave of reschedules up until September, October, and now we're doing the same again. So I'm very busy doing that, while also kind of reaching out, looking for support for the business and trying to keep ourselves afloat,
And so most of the weddings that you had this year, say, are booked in for next year then, is it?
Yeah. We would have lost, let's say we were able to reschedule about 90% of them, thankfully. Yeah. We lost 10% with dates not available or people changing their plans. We did get an awful lot of them rescheduled into next year and some into 2022 as well. So it wasn't lost work. It was just kind of put on pause for a while,
And so when was the last time you played a gig then? Was it 13th of March, you said?
13th of March, yeah. Do you know what? Was it the 15th? The weekend of that, the 13th or the 15th? I can't rightly remember, but that was the last time, yeah. Venues closed. Any venue gigs we had were cancelled, obviously. And with numbers reductions, then, the lockdown was the first one that kind of hit us with the weddings. And then as things went on, it just got more difficult with us with number reductions, a more recent ban on music. Now, the ban is only a guideline, but still, it freaks out brides and grooms. And I understand.
That's in the legislation at the moment, is it, that you're not allowed?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. It's not. After doing a lot of research on it, it's actually... What happened was it was a press release from the Department of Health and the Department of Tourism. It was never passed by government. The Irish Hotels Federation and Bol Forte got this and decided to publish it. So technically, it's not a guideline. And it's funny, just speaking with colleagues and other bands on the scene, some hotels are letting it go ahead, some hotels aren't. Now, the difficulty there is it suits some hotels not to have a ban because they're closed. And they don't want to open up for 25 people. It doesn't pay them, and they're right. It doesn't. I'm not giving out. So when a guideline is put their way, they're going to that benefits them. They're going to stand by it. But the real losers here are the brides and grooms, and the couples, because they've, as I said, they probably have rescheduled 2 or 3 times, and it's a strange one because they've banned live music, dancing, hair, and makeup. And it's Bord Forte that gave this guideline. What do they know about weddings? Not trying to insult anybody, but like a bride would want to look her best on her day and have her hair and makeup done, and they want to dance. And it's funny. 2 or 3 things most talked about the day after a wedding at the breakfast in the hotel the next day is the bride's dress, how she looked, the meal, and the band. So whoever put these guidelines out knew that they were covering any, ideas of weddings going ahead normally. It's ridiculous.
They were just hoping that people would cancel them. Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, and we're part of the WBA, which is the Wedding Band Association, and there's 80 to 100 odd bands on that, and we kind of work together, and we've trying to get clarity on this, and it's just like banging your head against a brick wall. The government came out and said, no, we didn't put this guideline in place. Bord Forte came out and said, no, we didn't. They all went legging it and hiding in the long grass when we came asking questions. Why single out hair, makeup, and live music? It makes no sense, Now, in saying all of this, I understand lockdown. I understand why it has to be done. But don't pick and mix who you can let work and you can't let work. If you stand in our way and stop us working, give us support. And that's my biggest gripe about the whole thing,
Yeah, I was supposed to get married this year as well. So we ended up doing the legal part this year with just a few family members. and then we rebooked the band and the party side of things for next year.
That's a very common thing. Very common. Because I'm not sure of the legalities of it. You probably know something about a green folder that when you have your date booked, you can still go ahead and get married and have the party. We've a good few bookings like that. They're actually married, but they're going to have the reception and the party. A great idea. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
great idea.
We had it in the Dolmen, and it was grand, because they have a little area upstairs. You're from Carlow, aren't you?
No, I'm from Tipperary.
Oh, you're from Tipperary.
I lived in Wexford for years, and I now live in Sligo. So that's my connection. Yeah.
Slightly off then.
Yeah. No, but you probably remember us from the Dinnery in Carlow and those gigs. Yeah. I actually remember you from those gigs as well. Funny enough, you had a mohawk, and you used to come in like a little punk.
Enter Sandman, killing in the name of
Rage. Yeah.
And then I go home happy like.
Well, man, that hasn't been happening for a while, I tell you.
Yeah, the bands that not really having much. Can I say this? We're not really having much good bands there leading up to.
Yeah,
it changed.
The scene changed, and that's how we kind of evolved into doing weddings. Like, you think back when we were doing the Dinnery for Rag Week and for there was a cluster of bands there that were really good. Bluemoose, Big Generator, Juices J90. All those, funnily enough, all those bands are now primarily wedding bands as well. It's the likes. There you go. You just explained it. You get married, so you remember us from the Debs and the Grads and Rag Weeks, and all those people ring us then when they're getting married. But the scene changed an awful lot. Budgets changed. We started doing wedding availability for a Saturday night for the Dinnery.
I think a lot of them are gone down the tribute bands kind of avenue then as well. Like, you might have ABBA in there one week, and then there was actually a Joe Dolan tribute in there one Saturday night.
Wow.
I didn't go.
Did you not? You weren't up the front for Enter Sandman, no?
No, not for that one.
I think their policy changed there as well. The kind of more ticketed kind of events, the age of people going changed. It all changes. It all evolves, Yeah.
So, have you done any weddings at all then since March? No.
No. And the thing about it is, with the numbers, we kind of had larger weddings in our books,
Yeah.
And as it went on, we had weddings booked, and it just changed every week. There was something. Oh, my lights have to go off. Sorry.
Yeah.
It just changed every week. There was like now no live music. Before that, it was 50 people. Before that, it was 25 people. You weren't allowed to travel from county to county. You are now allowed to travel from county to county. It was confusion, man. It was, and for brides and grooms, it just freaked them out. I'm going to turn this light back on. It just completely freaked them out, and they rescheduled. And I couldn't but agree with them. Much and all as it pained me because it was business being lost, or business being moved. It was difficult for everybody, for suppliers and for couples.
Yeah, because I think a few people that I'd follow have put up that they played small weddings, maybe for 20, 25 people. I had. Daniel Lang is his name. He's in a band called the Scratch Original Band here a couple of weeks ago, and he does a wedding band as well, and they played for 25 people, and he said it was good crack. Everyone got to let loose.
It can be, and I'd imagine, just speaking to colleagues and other bands on the scene, and here's the thing, right? If Bluemoose play for a wedding for 250 people, or we play for a wedding for 25 people, we still do the same thing. We don't alter it. It's still the same performance. It's a little bit more intimate. It's not going to be as loud. But we don't cut back on what we do, and I do imagine that a wedding for 25 people, a bit of live music, it just let go, it finally, and for the couple to finally have their day, not the way that they wanted it, but to finally have it over, get over the line with it, I suppose.
I think a lot of people wouldn't go for it though, because the 25, so you're talking 12, 13 people each. It's not enough really.
No, it's not. Like when you you're going to have immediate family, mums and dads, brothers, sisters. Then where do you stop? Then I'd hate to be doing it. My sister's getting married next year in July, and she kind of has two lists. She has lists done for 100 and lists done for 50. And that would be my advice for anybody who has a wedding with anybody, with us or with anybody. Have two lists. We're very hopeful that the numbers will be back to 50 in December, January. Maybe, and then definitely by summertime 100. But be prepared. There won't be any big weddings in Ireland next year, not till 2022, which is a shame because us Irish, we do weddings very well. and people do like big numbers. It's a big celebration. It will be back, but not for another 12 months. I don't think. I could be wrong, but I don't think.
And can you see yourself having any pub gigs or anything like that this year even?
I don't think so. Before the second lockdown, I was kind of hopeful for something happening around Christmas. Not particularly Christmas parties, but any venues that'd be open would put on something. I don't see it happening for a lot of reasons. I don't see the venues having the budget. In fairness to them, I'm not this venues. They've had it very tough. There has been, when we get talking about it, there has been a scheme that was put forward at the budget, the live stimulus scheme or music. I don't know what it's called. There's so many different titles. But the idea of that was to give venues money to put on performances. Now, the stipulation in that is the performances have to happen before the end of 2020 for you to get the money. But the catch there is there's no venues open, So these are the things that were annoying me, and you probably got that vibe from some of my videos or anything I kind of post up. They give with one hand and they take back with the other. Venues can get the money but they're closed. So it doesn't make sense.
And how are they supposed to put on a performance then?
A few of them, I reckon, will go to online streaming, like that. But that's not bringing money into the venue. A venue, we talked about the Dinnery. They made their money by 2,000 people in the place, spending and drinking, and and the band got paid, and everybody spent money. That's not going to happen with an online gig.
I think the whole online thing now, I think people are fed up with it. It was okay as a thing for a while, but now
it was very good at the beginning. A lot of bands had some great stuff up, but then what happened, and no disrespect to anybody, I'm not trying to insult anybody, every Tom, Dick and Harry was strumming a guitar with their phone, facing at them. It's got a bit tiring. There's still some very good performances going on. And I think now, between now and December, with this stimulus package, that's the way it's going to go. So keep an eye out. There will be a few bits happening like that,
Yeah, I seen there was it Cypress Avenue and a few other bigger venues got money, wasn't it, towards it?
Yeah, and there might be I don't want to jump the gun, but there might be something in the pipeline for ourselves early in the new year with something like that, because it's the only way you can get support, but the likes of Cypress Avenue, like the top-notch professional venue, the doors closed, they had numerous acts booked there, so they deserve support as well, and for the crew that used to work there and the staff and the bands that were due in there. But the only thing is, like, we've been in contact with the ministers and TDs, and they kind of sent back and forth, and they're kind of going, well, we've given 50 million or 5 million to the live music stimulus. It's very hard seeing it trickle down to the likes of me, the guy, the actual musician. And if it does, I'm only going to get one gig out of it if I'm lucky. So it doesn't support my business. It's a one-off payment. It doesn't support my business. And again, that's another thing that I think is ridiculous, and I was angry about.
I think there's going to be a lot of people in that boat. It's almost as if they don't see music as a real job, and they're trying to get people,
Nailed it. Yeah, you've nailed it. It's a lack of knowledge of how our industry works, and I suppose it's from years ago that the music industry was seen as a black market, the boys getting cash on a Saturday night. It's come a long way. Like, the Bluemoose are a legitimate business and have been for donkeys of years, and to try and portray that to the powers that be, that we're a business, we're the same as a corner shop, we're the same as a pub, we're the same as a retailer, we pay our taxes, we pay our VAT. It's just, it has that, as you say, when you're getting a real job vibe about it, And
sure, you guys would be out 4 or 5 nights a week, most weeks.
Yeah, most weeks. Yeah. There's a bit of downtime with us every January. We take holidays in January, but it kicks off then from February straight through. Like February, March, you have all the rag weeks, freshers weeks, not rag weeks. Are there rag weeks in January? Freshers weeks. Then you have Paddy's week. Then you have Easter. Then you have summer. Then you come on to October. You have the October bank holiday weekend with loads of festivals around the country. November is a little bit quieter, but then you're back into Christmas. So there is no seasons, quiet seasons for us. January is quiet, but from February on, we're doing four nights a week at least.
I seen, was he in Switzerland last year for Paddy's Day?
Yeah, man, we're meant to go on there the first week in December this year. We go over twice a year. We work with a company over there, Paddy Riley's. We do all their kind of corporate stuff. We do their Christmas parties. We do their annual birthday party. If there's a big sporting event on, we travel over and we do 3 or 4 gigs over there. It's great. It's nice to get away. And it's a different crowd, different audience. We have to alter what we play a little bit. You have to speak slower because they don't understand your English. But it's great. It's good for the morale. It's good for the experience of traveling abroad and playing different gigs.
What kind of stuff are they into over there? Is it kind of...
It's funny because you could, let's say this year here, let me guess, George Ezra, Paradise. The minute you start that strum on the acoustic, floor full. Over there, they don't recognize it.
Right.
You play a U2 song to go mental. You play a Guns N' Roses song. You have to be very careful of what you pick. What's popular over here mightn't be popular over there. Now, I must say, we've been going out to Switzerland maybe over 10 years, and it took us a while to suss it out. It took us 1 or 2 years, 1 or 2 trips to kind of go, right, what are these people into? But we have it nailed.
And the other guys that are in the band then, what are they up to now? Are they working or?
No, we're all on the PUP, which we're very grateful for. We're surviving on it. We won't survive on it forever. I suppose, if I'm being honest, we kind of enjoyed the downtime to an extent. Summer, like I wouldn't have had the summer off with the family. I'd have been as you said a minute ago, I'd have been on the road 4 or 5 nights a week. And we traveled the length and breadth of the country. So like some days I'm leaving at 2 in the afternoon and not getting back home till 6 in the morning. And then doing the same the following day and the following day. So it's hard on family life. So we did really enjoy the summer. I must admit I had a ball at home with the family. Like it was a lockdown situation, but the weather was good. The kids, Maggie, barbecues, beers and all that kind of thing. It was great. And I must say I'm looking forward to Christmas for that reason as well. But that can't last forever. Got to get back work. And I feel I'm in contact with the lads. I feel that they're the same as well. That we enjoy the downtime because it's something we don't get to do, but we're itching to get back working now again.
I'd say it's been a long time since you had a full weekend off. Like
that's the thing. Yeah, you'd always have to. And like I love my job. The biggest gripe I have about my job is at 3 in the evening looking at my watch going, oh, I have to go to work now. Once I'm in the van with the lads, I'm happy, I'm grand, but it's just that you can never really, we miss an awful lot of family events. We're never around on weekends. So glad of that this time around,
Yeah. And what do you see for the future then? What's with music in general in this country and probably everywhere?
I don't know. I think it'll be a slow, like venues are going to be very slow coming back, but I do think venues that are into music, Cypress Avenue, Reardon's in Cork, Keys in Galway, a lot of the typical music venues will try their best to get back. Some of them won't open again. That's the sad part of all of this. It's going to be a very slow comeback that way. Weddings will be one of the first things back, I have a feeling. I have a full diary for next year, and 2022 is looking very good as well. If this COVID fecks off,
Yeah.
So it's a step by step. I don't know. We haven't had the conversation where we've said, right, lads, do we need to get a job yet? Because we're very hopeful for next year. But as time goes on, that could change. There's talk. Do you see today? There's talk of one of the vaccines being very hopeful.
Yeah, 90% they were saying.
Yeah, so that's good news. I don't agree with this rolling lockdown idea. Fair enough, we have to do it this time. We open up for Christmas. Are we back into a lockdown situation again in January?
Yeah, you can tell that people are pissed off even with this one already,
Yeah, it's a different vibe about it this time. Even when I'm kind of out and about in the car, it's not as quiet as it was for the first one.
No, definitely not.
And I think what caused a lot of that was the mixed messages, the pick and mix. Like, are we at level 3, level 3.5? No, let's do a level 4, but you're not allowed this. Jesus, if you make a plan, fucking stick with it, and you'll get people's trust then, whereas they lost people's trust altogether.
Yeah, in terms of emails and politicians and anyone that you've been talking to, what's the response been like?
It's funny. We emailed them all. Myself and Bobby sat down one day and we said, right, now in saying this, there's been a few groups, the WBA, MEAI are excellent, EPIC are excellent, and they've been Trojans of work to try and get responses from people. And there was a lot of people getting angry with the MEAI and all them. Like, give them a break, guys. They're doing their very best. Not getting the answers that any of us wanted, but trying. I then think the budget came out and it was a bit of a slap in the face for all of us because we were promised, I don't know if you were following it, but like on the lead up to the budget, it was like, oh, musicians and entertainment are going to be looked after 100%. And then they didn't. It was a complete, it slammed the door in our face. So myself and Bobby kind of took the tact then that we were going to start emailing and kind of saying, hey, we're not putting up with this. We have time to do it. We're at home.
Yeah.
It's been good. It's a lot of them were the automatic replies. Oh, we're aware of your situation. I'll pass this on to the minister. We got one this morning, and it was very hopeful. And there's this booklet, COVID Business Support Scheme booklet. They all sent us that. I read through it quickly this morning. There's nothing in it for us, and it's a lack of knowledge of how our industry works. That's the problem. The MEAI tried to drill that home with Minister Martin. She said she was listening. It doesn't appear that she did. I don't know. They haven't given up. We're all still fighting for it. Now, in saying that, I'm not giving out. There is support there for some people, and some people will benefit, and fantastic. And I understand that it's not a one fix for everybody, but it just does seem that our particular industry was targeted, unfairly.
Yeah. I think a lot of the money is kind of
trying to be nice about it without effing them.
You can F and blind if you want, but I think a lot of the money was kind of going towards the top end of
the
people
big
as well, wasn't it? Yeah.
And like I'm in the commercial side of things, so I'm a cover band. I play other people's music for a living. You have to there was good support there for singer-songwriters, for producers, for recording albums, and fair play, well deserved. But that's where it stopped for us, and there's a massive, massive music industry in Ireland. Like, you think about it, any local hotel you have has a guy playing a guitar in the front bar, probably has 2 functions going on with 2 bands, could have a country dance on the Sunday night. Any of the country singers, they've been hit massively. Denver, Nerney, Nathan Carter, them guys used to put 6 to 1,000 people into a ballroom every weekend. They have been forgotten about as well, It's a massive industry. Ireland is very lucky. You think of America or England or anywhere, the amount of cover bands in Ireland, or the amount of country bands in Ireland, the amount of live musicians in Ireland is phenomenal.
Yeah, I wouldn't be bothered going out unless there was a band or a bit of music, like myself.
Yeah, there you go. And there's a lot of people on the same boat as you.
Yeah.
But yeah, to answer your question, a lot of the supports kind of did stop at the top tier. They didn't trickle down, and that was a phrase used by the minister as well. Oh, we're hoping this will trickle down. That's not good enough. I have a business to try and keep afloat. I'm not waiting for your hopes of money trickling down. Put a system in there for us and put in support. And here, the thing, Morris, we're not looking for a fortune. We're looking for basic support just to pay our bills. Because when I get back rocking, please God, in February or March, that's me. I'm back on track. But it's just to keep afloat between now and then.
Yeah, when you see someone like Niall Horan done streams there the weekend to pay his crew, like it's crazy, like.
Yeah, and like I think even in closer to home, Daniel O'Donnell did the same thing.
Yeah. I heard that. Yeah.
But now here's the thing: Niall Horan is a multi-millionaire, and so is Daniel O'Donnell. So there was no for their back to do it. And I think I saw, was Niall Horan on the Late on Friday night?
Yeah, it was Skype, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, somebody was giving out saying, why are you asking Niall Horan how the COVID is affecting his business? Because he could retire now and be happy for life. But a great gesture. He paid all his crew and all his musicians for the rest of the year and beyond. And I think made a donation to some group in England as well. So, fantastic. Every little bit helps.
Yeah, it was good for him anyway. Good for the crew.
Yeah, and he comes across a very, very down-to-earth, very normal guy, which is nice to see.
Those guys, in terms of big gigs, like in the Tree Arena, riggers, people like that, they're totally kind of in the same boat as you guys as well.
Very similar, very, very similar. And there's a group called Epic that kind of have been fighting their corner. And as you know, because you have a knowledge of the scene and of music, like the hundreds of people for Tree Arena or for let's say Electric Picnic, thousands of workers to make that happen.
And they're working 12, 13-hour shifts. Like, I know guys that were doing it before I moved back down to Kilkenny last year, but guys I knew in Dublin, and they'd be like loading in 17, 18 trucks into the Tree Arena all night.
Massive. And like, they've been forgotten about,
Yeah.
There's a system called, a new scheme called a CRSS, which is the COVID Recovery Support Scheme. And when it came out, the explanation of it was to help businesses affected by restrictions put in place. Boom.
Okay.
They're in a headline, in one sentence, it did it. But you have to work from a premises. Nobody in the music industry works from a premises. Nobody comes into the Bluemoose shop to buy Bluemoose.
So that's another loophole.
It was stupid. It was with one hand and taken away. And the likes of those rigger guys and the guys who store that equipment, and like there's millions of euros worth of equipment. They have warehouses. They can't claim because they don't have a front-facing business. It's stupid, you know.
Yeah, because their work is fairly sporadic, you know, as well. They mightn't be needed for a week or two, and then summertime festival gigs everywhere. They'll be on 6-7 days a week, you know.
They'd definitely be more seasonal with festivals. And a few of them would work the corporate scene, which would be all year round, but it wouldn't be big numbers. It wouldn't be massive volumes. Summer season for them. And even now, I think a lot of festivals for 2021 are pushing out. I'm just flicking through Facebook and seeing headlines that is Glastonbury put out till 2022 or something, you know. So it's going to affect next year as well.
Yeah, I see a few festivals are in the pipeline. Well, they're scheduled anyway, Download and a few in Europe, but
right.
I don't know. I can't see them happening personally, but I live in hope.
Yeah, when you think of it like Download, like you can't have a festival with restrictions in place for Download. You know, it's just like thousands of bodies in a field lepping around having a good time. How do you restrict that? It's not going to be a drive-in Download, you know.
No, I wouldn't go to a drive-in gig, would you?
No, they were interesting. I saw them.
Yeah.
You'd want to really, really love watching the artists to sit in your car, and a great idea. But they're again, come here. They were banned. You know.
I remember that. Yeah.
You know, poor old Gavin James got an awful short notice shock. He had it all. I think he had them all sold out. 4 or 5 of them around the country, and then bang, you can't have it. But they were drive-in cinemas and bingo. But Gavin James couldn't get up and sing a few songs, you know.
You definitely want to designate a driver to have a few cans anyway if you're going to that.
Yeah. And if you drink too many cans, then where do you do your wee-wees or whatever you call them? Out the window.
Stuff. Is there anything else you want to say then in regards to where you're at?
Nothing really. Just there's a lot of this isn't just me crying about it, you know. There's a lot of people in the same boat, and I suppose if you're going to publish this podcast, if anybody wants to contact me and have a chat about it, or we want to have an old bitch together and get a few things going, I think the more people that make noise about it and email the ministers, it can't all fall on deaf ears. Somebody has to listen at some stage. Maybe we'll be back rocking by the time they get around to us. But I think the more noise is made about it and the more awareness that's out there, the better. And it will be back. It's not doom and gloom. We will be back gigging, but it's just how long and when, and safely. You know, we have to do it safely as well. We can't deny what's going on in the world, and we can't ignore it. You know, we'll do our bit. But as I've been preaching, we'll do our bit. But help us out when we ask you.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us anyway, Tony. It's been great.
You're welcome. And come here, thanks for giving me the shout out to come on and have a chat, and wish you the best of luck with the rest of your podcasts.
No bother. We're going to catch up anyway, and we'll see how you're doing in a couple of months.
Yeah, do anytime. Give me a shout. Cheers, Mars.
Perfect. Thanks, Tony.